Welcome to the Dental and Mental Podcast.
We are going to be talking to you about the business and the mindset of dentistry.
Welcome back to the Dental and Mental Podcast. What's up, baby?
Hi, happy to see you.
Good to see you. We are in pajamas because it just seemed like way too much work to put in the effort.
Well, for this episode, we're going to be doing something new. I was explaining it to Galen earlier. It's called Yapcore. It's what I do on She Said What. It's just talking. We're just having a conversation with you guys today.
That's what we're going to do.
We're not trying to teach you, inspire you. We're just trying to we're just trying to sit and have a catch up with friends.
We're just chatting with cameras on us.
Yeah, just having a conversation with friends. I know that when I listen to podcasts, some of my favorite podcasts actually are veering into that Yapcore lane that I'm noticing right now. It's something that I can just listen to. It's going back to that parasocial relationship where I can feel like I'm listening to somebody kind of go through their life and I'm really interested in what they're saying.
Right.
I'm not trying to get any lessons. I'm just trying to be like, it's like an audio note from a friend, right?
I mean, you might have to give one lesson, which is the lesson you just gave me. What is Yapcore? You say these things as if we know, and maybe I'm just that old. But
so
I do not know what you're
yapping is
about.
just talking, right? Yapping is just talking. There's no point to it. It's literally just yapping.
And then the core is like, this is the main thing we're talking about. It's like the essential character of that particular topic, like that niche.
Yeah, right.
Well, we were talking the other day about some of the trends that we see, because obviously some of them are really fun. Some are really stupid too. But on social media in general, there's every single day there's something else that's trending.
Why are dentists stuck watching CE that looks like it was made in 1995?
I have lectured from every stage you can possibly imagine. We have created virtual courses around this, and this is the amalgamation of 12 years of practice wrapped into one single course. Not only is it all that you'd ever want to know, but it's also what to charge, how to increase your fees, how to market it, how to photograph it. Fracture is the masterclass that is an homage to the technique that transformed my life and career. That took me from $50 an hour in juvie to a $5 million fee-for-service practice. When you see the price for this course, your jaw should drop. It costs more actually to buy probably a carpal or two of composite to do the class 4 than it does to actually learn everything I just described and so much more. This course, as you can tell, I have tremendous passion and excitement for. Join Fracture today.
Yeah, so I think I wouldn't necessarily even say that I'm a trendy person, but I do like trends if I feel like there's something new that the trend inspires me to add to the conversation.
Okay.
Those are the type of trends that I think are really fun. I don't like trends when it is a legit copy and paste. There's no depth to it. It's just, I want to be like everybody else. But if there's a new point of view that I feel like I can add, those are the trends that I think I'm attracted to the most.
Yeah.
So we recently did Ghostface, the character from Scream.
Those were good. Toss that up.
That was fun. I thought that there was something new that we could add to the conversation. Dylan is really the one that architected that whole thing.
Yeah.
And so that one was
terrific.
That one was a really fun one to jump on board with.
I think, let's dissect that a little bit. Like, what made that fun? There's something about it that's extremely playful. So by contrast, maybe it's better to do a contrast here. I find that some of the trends that I don't like at all, that I get really like repulsed by, are the ones where a person's trying to be or do something that you know is not in their character at all, but they're trying to stay relevant. Versus doing something that's just playful, right? You're not trying to be relevant by doing Ghostface. You're just doing something because it's creative and it's fun and we can laugh about it. And heck, one of them is on my phone right now. I think it's hilarious, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference, I think, is when a person's trying versus playing.
That's exactly it. Because I think you could feel that too, right? So I like that that's one of the things that I like to ask. Is there a new point of view that I can add? Is there some depth that I can bring to a trend that maybe hasn't already been said? So one of the new ones that we're doing, so Kanye released his list of betrayals recently, and it was all the people that he felt betrayed by. He put it on X, I think, and then it went viral. And it also inspired the trend for everybody else to be like, Kanye inspired me to release my own betrayals list. That trend I loved because I keep that list on my phone. I didn't need a prompt. I was like, I got it. Let's just ship it.
You inspired Kanye. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I love keeping a list of betrayals. I
You
think
say that you have a grudge list.
Yeah, I do. I do. It's, everybody has their vice, okay? Some, it's comparison. Like I know, some people really struggle with comparison. That's not one for me. Mine is really holding on to things that I should probably let go of.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll hold on to it until I don't want to anymore. But
Well, until what I notice is you hold on to it until it no longer like fuels you and gives you energy. Like you get very energized by holding certain grudges. Like it's motivation to achieve, to crush, to conquer, or to become something. And then once that's kind of been achieved or done, you're like,
yeah,
it's over.
What trend did we do recently, Dylan? Oh, it was what was the one that it was like things that I liked?
Oh, unfortunately, I do love.
Oh, yes. That was a trend I loved. Unfortunately, I do love. And one of the things I put on there was remembering my betrayals list instead of taking pre-workout.
That's right. And the betrayal list came out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you really did actually have that. That's not a lie. You do have this list.
So I like to
I have notes about, like thoughts for courses and you have a list in your phone of people that you just dislike.
I like to think about the wrongs that have been done instead of taking pre-workout.
I love that. I love that for you. It makes complete sense.
So the betrayals list was a really fun one too. Again, because I thought there was something new that I could add to the conversation, and also things that I'm willing to say that maybe other people feel that they're just not willing to say. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Really, I can't really be canceled. I'm uncancelable. So.
I'm uncancelable.
Yeah, which makes me problematic.
I think it makes you powerful. Yeah, that's a really good thing. It's a very good thing. I mean, the truth is that most people are cancelable because they care, too much about that thing. I mean, historically, that's been me. I carry too much care for what something will be seen as, There's a healthy version of that, perhaps, though. I mean, there's a degree of, right? Don't you feel like to some degree that people have these like pendulum swings of like very much caring and never like get out of the societal norms of what you're supposed to look like, and then there's the like, man, well, fuck it all. Like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to subscribe to anything that society tells me to do. I'm not sure that either one of those is really healthy. Right.
I think that. Speaking of, on the pendulum swing all the way that's where we get Kanye, right?
That's where we get to Kanye.
Yeah, but when he Kanye's too hard, people are like, it's starting to become like really crazy, right? Like fans can't even fan anymore because we're getting into waters where I can't even defend it anymore, right?
If your name's a verb, you've probably gone too far.
Well, we just had a couple of dentists out this weekend.
Sure did. Yeah.
That was really, really fun. I've always said this I think dentists are so cool. I really think that they're cool people. And we've even had friends that we invite to dental things that are non-dentists, and they always have a really good time because the people are so fascinating.
Yeah, we actually had one of our like Thrive Everywhere events, which is for essentially our past coaching clients and current coaching clients. We had him out in Atlanta and had a couple of our best friends join. One who's in startup and the other one's an attorney, very successful attorney. And that was one of the questions we asked like afterwards. We're like, so, how was the dinner? Like, what did you think? Was it kind of strange, talking to these other dentists and you guys aren't? And their response was actually very interesting. It was, they're so much cooler than attorneys. That was I found it fascinating as the husband in particular. He's like, I go to these events and I'm not an attorney, and he's like, it's just so much ego, so much arrogance, so much one up and trying to be better than the other and act like you don't care and all that. And he's like, these people are just real. Real. So I loved that, and I think that it is really true. It's core to who a lot of dentists are. Yeah. For sure.
Because I think that, right, to be a dentist, there's so many different layers. We've talked about this, so many different hats that you have to wear, that when you get to take that out of dentistry, you're a person who has a lot of interests.
Yeah.
A lot of curiosities, a lot of ways to bring that into, your personal life. So super fun for conversation, super fun for what is it that you're doing next.
Yeah.
I've thought about that from friendship too. I think that's why I love coaching dentists and being in dentistry, even though I don't clinically practice. I don't like, I guess what I should say, one of the things that is common for me to be friends with somebody is they have to entertain me. Like I need somebody who is having a new thought, a new story. Like they have to be on the move.
I push back against that a little bit. I'm not sure that's entirely true for you.
No, well, it is. You have to, we're going to extract friends who are grandfathered in.
Whether or not you want to go on the second date, right? You have to be entertained. So if we're going to use that as the bar,
no,
sure.
you know lots of people who are married to boring people. They're
Yeah, but that always begs the question: was it spicy and interesting and all the rest, butterflies for months, years, and then it just dwindled? Like a lot of times that happens.
So you're saying that a magnetic person turned into a dud?
That can happen, yeah.
I know. No. When has a magnetic person turned into a dud? If you are a dud, you've been dudding for a long time.
I mean, look at Aisha Curry. She was so magnetic. We all know it. And then she turned into a dud. That's what, because of Steph. That's what happened.
You think that people were fun and then turned into a dud?
Oh, it absolutely happens. 100%.
Really? What happened? What happened to them?
People talk about this all the time. This is what midlife crises are all about.
Turning into a dud?
You were fun, and you're like, I did all these things. I used to hike. I used to go out with my friends. I used to be the life of the party. And then a lot of times people get married, and you start to change who you are to fit that other person. You make these micro compromises that go the wrong way. You edit one another until you get to this place where you're like, I'm so edited and you're so edited, that then in marriage, you think that the problem is this other person. And you don't really realize that you have become a completely different human being. And then you have your midlife crisis, which is you getting a Chrysler Sebring and wearing a lot of gold jewelry. And you're like,
trying to break
I feel
out
alive.
Because you're trying to break out of dud prison.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And you're like, see, I'm so much better. And like, they'll go through a divorce. And then you're like, we have friends going through this. And you are a completely different person. And you're like, why are you so different? And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you can go through that and feel like you were muted, a very different person, and then get divorced and you're different.
The friend you're talking about in question was never boring.
For a time, yes. Yes, they were.
Well,
for years.
But I attribute that to business building.
No, that's more than that. It's definitely more than that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. In particular, what do you think? Do you think... And Dylan's like, I'm not talking about this. Come on my side, Dylan. No, I see this a lot with men. We see it with dentists that we coach. And I do think it's more men, but maybe that's because I deal with them more. I see them, look, to some degree, I have had this at little moments where I get kind of like dampened or muted because of the weight of responsibilities. It's different for you and I in terms of our relationship. I don't think that you edit me to any appreciable degree where I can't be myself at all. We're both pretty crazy. But I definitely have, I think with the more responsibility you carry, it can feel like you can't be as fun anymore. That magnetism goes away.
Well, yes. I just pitched you my theory. Remember?
You've got a lot of theories you have to explain.
Well, okay. So the backstory.
I'm just learning about Yap Core, so now give me the theory.
Okay, this is my theory. I think it holds water, but you guys tell me if it holds water. I think it does, though. I think it tracks. So I went to a wedding this past weekend, and my closest friend, also her husband was out of town too. So we were at the wedding together as each other's dates, and we know other women that are at the wedding too, but they were there without their partners because their partners are duds. They're very boring. And so as her and I are dancing, she leans over to me and she was like, I'm so happy that we're not married to boring men. And I immediately I was like, oh, I have a theory about this.
It's like your betrayalist. You're like, I actually have been drafting this up. So glad you asked.
I swear this is a life of an only child. Like we are so self-confined that we just build these worlds in our head. So I think about a lot of things. But anyways, so I was like, I have a theory about that. I think that men who are carrying a lot of responsibility, but still who still have bandwidth for more, have the bandwidth for fun. So it's like top tier, right? Top tier are men who carry an extreme amount of responsibility, CEOs, business owners, high-level performers, whatever it is, but they still have bandwidth. Those men are fun.
Okay.
Then you have the next layer down where those men are maxed out at responsibilities, and so those men are no longer fun. Maybe they used to be, but they're no longer because it's like I am maxed out. Like I just don't even have the bandwidth to be fun anymore. That's that group. Which is interesting about that group. Maybe that's how that group got fun partners because all the women in that group were really fun too. They were like dud men married to really fun women.
Okay.
Okay. And then the lower tier is men who don't want any responsibilities, so they're really fun.
They have lots of bandwidth.
Yeah, they have lots of bandwidth, and they know that too. They're like not trying to crush that part of them, so it's like they're not trying to take on anything extra, right? So these are often the men where the women are trying to inspire them to like, you could be more, you could do more, you could have more, and the guys are like, you know what? But I'm really okay here. I'm not trying to do all that. Whatever it is that you want me to be, do, or have, like I don't want it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think it's a very acute and real observation. Yeah, for sure. But I don't know that it's necessarily groups you can't elevate in and out of, you know? Like I feel like those are more seasons than almost anything else.
Yeah.
In dental school, I was the guy with very little responsibility who was throwing parties and having a blast playing frisbee golf and volleyball in between.
Hosting dinner club.
Yeah. I mean, I got all my requirements done and I was like, who else wants to have a good time?
Yeah. Hosting dinner club, baking treats, hosting costume parties.
That's right. Carrot souffle all day, baby. Yeah. Right. And then there was getting married and getting a job and realizing that associateship was not really paying me what I needed. Like it was such a wake up call. You know, you go from having these student loans that you're not having to pay on. And so you don't feel like you have responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I think that the lowest group that you talked about, the one that doesn't have any responsibility, I think you said it pretty well. It's not even that they don't have responsibility. It's that they shirk it. You avoid it. You can be a young boy, and then I'm speaking again more towards men, but boys, what changes a boy to a man is suffering and responsibility. Mm. And you can avoid those. You can avoid them for a very long time. You're just not respectable.
Yeah, and then from that point, society lets you know.
Yeah.
Society gives you feedback on your value.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
So when you have a family and now you suddenly have to pay your student loans and you also have to raise children to be productive, moral, citizens, and you have a world that's constantly trying to attack that and erode that base. And then you have the stresses of trying to, not just join with another human being in marriage, but also like produce a separate kind of life, a new version of life together. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort.
Right.
And so that season, which very much I've been in, and you've been in, yeah, it wasn't that fun. I mean, it was building multiple businesses and working my ass off. And it's not until you actually get help. I think it's when you start to get like really masterful. Like I don't think cognitively or consciously about dentistry that much anymore. I go to work and I just do it, right? I'm much faster. I know what I need to do. And I kind of go into autopilot mode. Like I can have a conversation. That was not the way it was 7 or 8 years ago.
That's true. Okay, I retract my previous statement about you can't be a fun person and turn into a dud. That's true. I actually remember your guy friends telling you that you would become a dud.
Yeah. And I had told the person that we're talking about the same thing. I was like, you're no longer fun. And we both were like, we're not fun. Yeah. You know, most of my friends were just now entering a phase, like in the last year and a half to 2 years, where a lot of the structures that we were putting in place.
In your 30s, because also
30s.
Talk about like the age too, because
That's what I'm
everybody's
saying,
like
like
coming up, like everybody is now in their 40s.
Yeah.
Just right.
You're a boy toy in your 20s. You're goofing around most of the time, right? There's a few that really have to I think mature very quickly. My brother-in-law in particular.
Yeah, right.
Is one of those where responsibility hit him very hard, very quickly. And I admire him and respect him for being that kind of man.
Yeah, right.
Where it was just like, wow, you didn't really get to enjoy your 20s that way. Like your 30s are your 20s. But in general, men become men in their 30s, but it's not a very fun man. And then the 40s is if you've done the things that are right. Now that's the other thing too. You can spit in the wind in your 30s. And fuck around, you know. And I think that's one of the things that you don't really consider is that sometimes just because you're busy building doesn't mean you're building anything that's going to last, you know, or that's going to pay you dividends. And so you might get to your 40s and it's just a rehearsal that you had in your 30s for the exact same thing again in your 40s. And the problem is that you just don't have as much energy. You're not the same guy.
Well, you're really bumming the people out.
Didn't say it's impossible. But I think you have to be aware. You have to be aware of that. I think a lot of my friends were aware that your 30s is a time that you're going to kind of eat a shit sandwich. Like that's just what you're going to do. And we also knew that if we did it right, the 40s, you actually start to get to reap some of the benefits of that.
That's a good point because I think that is something that I see with you and your group of guy friends is that you're all very successful and all very fun.
Yeah, they're a fun group of guys.
Yeah, it's a fun group. But yeah, you're right. Maybe now that I think back to that past decade, everybody was really going through it.
You didn't really have time for each other. I mean, you're like, yeah, you know, and that's typically when you have more fights with your spouse. Right, because it's very new to both of you. You know, again, I'll speak from my perspective. Your wife is used to the fun you, right?
Oh, like
20s.
when you're newly married or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're newly married, and there's all that enjoyment and excitement, and also there's a lot of attention placed on her. You get to do that, right? You get to put a lot of time and effort and energy into your wife, and your girlfriend, your fiance, and your wife, and then you have kids and you have businesses and all the rest. And now a man's attention goes towards, I got to take care of this stuff outside of us to protect us. And we'll feel this from you guys where when you have kids, now your attention goes to caring for the children and less on us and making us feel special. And that's the hard part of the 30s typically is that you're no longer focusing on me and I'm not focusing on you. We're focusing on the things that we say are loving towards that person, but it doesn't feel the same way anymore. And you have to get used to that, and it's really difficult. Yeah,
I think that's true. So I think when you do see two people that are both fun, that's really magnetic. Like, okay, so we had two dentists in yesterday. Mm-hmm. You with all your time and bandwidth decided to take on a new project with some buddies. With some dental buddies who are also operating at a very high level.
Yeah.
And one of them, just super impressive, came for less than 24 hours to crush through content and then was meeting his wife in Vegas for a UFC fight.
Yeah, I think he was here for 13 hours.
13 hours. And he and his wife are both really fun. Mm-hmm. And then the other dentist that came in, we got to meet his wife for the first time last night. And he is really fun. Super high energy.
Oh, yeah.
Just a party in a t-shirt.
Perdón.
Yeah, just a party in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And his wife was also really fun.
Yeah.
So, but when we got to talk about their story a little bit, it was like they had already went through like dental school together.
That time was hard for them.
Right. Children in dental school, all of that. So that season probably looked a lot different than who we met last night. Right. They're just two life-loving people.
When you think back, I mean, and Dylan knows this in Thrive, like when we were first coming into it, that first year to 2 years was fun because it was like so many ideas, new, meeting new people, new relationships, and then you got to deliver on all those things, and then you start to probably take on too many things, which we did. And there was a stressful couple of years there as a company where it just felt like labor, right? It was just working our asses off. Toil and trouble, right? Yeah, and just not a lot of fun.
To plant seeds in clay.
Exactly. Yeah. In concrete.
For those of you joining the Bible study, you'll know what I mean.
That's right. But now I think we've really kind of hit stride right in the last like year and a half, 2 years. Really, yeah, almost 2 years, where it's sort of like the version of really getting good and masterful at what you do. We kind of speak the same language now, and it's a lot easier to produce very high quality things in a shorter amount of time, which opens up more bandwidth. And in that bandwidth, now we can actually absorb more content, more ideas, get more creative, and kind of let your hair down a little bit. I think it's one of the rhythms.
Well, I think to the point of talking about what trends we like and don't like, maybe I was a little too harsh on the judgment of that, because if another person is in the phase where they're just trying stuff, it's like, yeah, you've got to do things that look shitty or stupid or ugly or off-brand or whatever it is, or chasing relevance or whatever. You're right. You go through all of that to figure out the things that you do want to focus on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, both are true. I think your assessment of it is accurate, and oftentimes you have to go through that. So a person shouldn't hear judgment. They should just hear, that's probably a phase. It probably should stay a phase, is what we're saying, right? Like, don't stay in the trend chasing scene for too long. Do it until you kind of find your rhythm and what you're good at and what really resonates with you, but don't stay there.
Yeah,
is that fair?
Be cringe for a season, not forever.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Make it a season.
Seasonal cringe.
Oh man, there's a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to cringe. Right.
Right.
I think it's what it says. Something like that. Solomon and all his wisdom knew.
Something like that. Well, so because I referenced the Bible study, if somebody's listening to the podcast and didn't check their email, tell me why I know why you're doing a Bible study. So you were asked to do it for like our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to open it up to docs?
That idea actually came before the neighborhood Bible study. So before I was asked by our neighbors to host a Bible study, I had been thinking about it for, oh my gosh, almost like a year and a half, probably. Better part of a year for sure. And just kept, like, I have notes in my phone. I'm like, I'll record this particular, sermon or presentation, and because it's something that spoke to me. But it just, I think I pushed it away because it was like, that's too much work. I know myself, you know me, that if I'm gonna do something like that, anything actually, I really want to pour myself into it. But it has a different level of sobriety for me, in that I am. There's no other way of putting it. If you say anything that the Bible says this, if you're at all a spokesperson, right, or interpreter of what you say God's saying, you wear a very, very heavy crown in a sense, right? Like, you have to be very careful about the responsibility you carry that way. So I think I was afraid of it, to be honest. And I still am. I mean, I still am. Because you hear us on the podcast. I mean, I curse and have all my stuff. I got my things. I know.
Curse on the podcast.
Yep. Curse.
Well, but why did you open it to Dennis? Why didn't you just keep it to the neighborhood?
Because I think that our world is really shifting. I do. I think it's shifting, and it's easy to jump on a bandwagon and be like, it's all getting so dark, or actually it's going to be just fine. I just think that it's shifting. I think it's very much, societally, we feel that. And I think more and more clients that we talk to, dentists that we talk to, friends that we talk to, there's this return almost to seeking for stability, because the world feels like it's changing, like it's shifting constantly. And there's not a lot of like footholds anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And so where do you go for that? And I have a belief, as do you, that I'm not terribly shocked by any of those things. Any of the stuff that's happening in the world doesn't surprise me. You know, it's an odd place to be where a lot of my patients are freaking out. They think it's World War III, like all these things are horrible. And while I agree that I don't like these things happening, I'm not surprised by any of it. And I anticipate it because of what my faith says. So that gives you a unique perspective. That's why I want to do it, because I think people want it.
So how can the people join the Bible study?
Yeah, I mean, if a person is seeking in that way, or is already, a Bible-believing Christian, and is like that's something that they want to go deeper into. We're going to do a couple different things. One of the ideas was actually was Dylan's. It's this idea of kind of call it like a Sunday service, like little 60 to, like 1 minute to 2 minute type like hits, almost as it were, to start your week off. So every Sunday we're going to drop one of those. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think we should bring text messages back. What if we text people that? That's really fun.
We could. Yeah. We could.
So you guys
bring the text messages back.
Well, because we used to send out text messages from Thrive, and then we stopped. But yeah, let us know if you guys like text messages, if that's easier to communicate.
So that's one of the modalities. The other modality is I'm actually creating a little series around certain topics or themes that I think are really relevant and important and then are fascinating to me. I always like to talk about something and teach something that I'm really processing. So our first one's on the nature of time, and it's a really cool one. That is going to be a free course that people can jump into. So there's lots of ways of getting into that, but just go to the description below the episode, and then join our newsletter. You'll find out plenty about that and many other things.
All right, cool. I think that's really exciting. I've loved your Bible study. So,
well, I learn a lot from you, actually. You're always challenging me on ideas and concepts. I'm like, why do I think that? I actually don't know. So yeah, it's great. It was good catching up with you, babe.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, those people rocking those treadmills and sitting in traffic.
Listening
to good little time.
Listening to Yapcore.
Yapcore, that's right. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you for listening and or watching the Dental and Mental Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, or any others for that matter, feel free to tap that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, Amazon, as well as Spotify. While you're there, why not leave us a review, up to 5 stars? And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what topic you want us to discuss next.
If you like what you heard today and you want to be involved in the Thrive world, from coaching to courses or just to connect with us, go to thethrivedentist.com.